Dear children, you are enjoying your everyday new learning in the college. Well, today once again I am here, your little star, would like to gift you the joy of learning of prose number 1.3, section 1 from your compulsory English textbook. So dear children, open at page number 25. The call of the soil, a scent of rice. The call of the soil, a scent of rice. Children, what is the call? What is a call? All of you know. I called you yesterday. Mummy, there is a telephone call for you. Papa, I missed a call. Can I call back? So you know this very well. What does the word call means? But what is the soil, children? Soil is the land. Soil is Mother Earth. Soil is the ground. A scent of rice. So this story is also just like 1.2 prose based on real life experience. Okay, so let us know about the writer. The writer is Venkat Iyer. In short, we can respectfully address him Venkat Iyer. He was born in 1966. He is a science graduate and a certified project management professional. He worked with IBM in Mumbai as a project manager for software implementation. After 17 years in the field of IT, he resigned in 2004. You know why? Just to live on his organic farm in Peth village in Dahanu Taluka, Palghar district, Maharashtra. What is organic, children? Organic is the cultivation without using artificial chemicals. Okay. He said that it was not a career change but a lifestyle change I was looking for. He just became a farmer, He chose the life of a farmer and he left his highly respectable job in the field of technology, and he told that I just was looking for my lifestyle change and it was not my career change. At present, what he does, at present he has joined his helpful hands towards the farmers in our state, towards the farmers, and with the sense of organic production in the field. He is working with different NGOs. He is working in the organic field to spread the mission of organic farming in our country. So, salute to this person and have deep respect for him, his contribution in the field of country, especially to the farmers. And let us go for knowing his prose. The call of the soil is scent of rice. The first crop. Children, have you opened at page number 26? I am reading and I will try my best to analyze. But one thing I would like to tell you, that while analyzing, if 1-2 lines are not highlighted by me, please don't mind for that, because constant talks bring another talks while analysis. But word to word meaning knowing system must be avoided, just because you have to grasp the meaning. In contextual meaning has to be grasped, so don't go for that word to word meanings or finding the meanings from the line to line system of reading. Okay, so you have to get the meanings according to the context of the paragraph. Rather, you can go for paraphrase system also to know the meaning. I shall try my best to read and analyze. If you have any query after that, you can write your comment in your comment box. I shall try my best to analyze that also through my writing. The first crop, it was April 2004. It was April 2004. I stood in the middle of the lush green field of moong green gram, and looked around me. It was April 2004, and I stood in the middle of the lush green. Lush means growing thickly green field or moog. In English, it is green gram, and looked around me. Children, but do you know the meaning of the word crop? Crop is a plant that is grown in large quantities, especially as food. So, the first caption is there, the first crop, it is the plant that is grown in large quantities as food for us, for our use. It was April 2004, and the writer was standing in the middle of the greeny land of Greengram and looked around him surprisingly in the hopefulness for future, in joy of success of producing such good lush green field of moog. It was just before sunrise and the sky was turning a bright orange. It was just before sunrise. Just before sunrise, the sky was turning a bright orange. You can notice the color of the sky before sunrises. And this is called in English dawn, D-A-W-N, dawn of the day. The ground was damp, D-A-M-P, damp means slightly wet, and the leaves were shining with dew. Dew means you must have seen dewdrops, the very small drops of water on the leaves, on the grass in a very early morning. My bare feet, he did not wear shoes on his feet, and he had bare feet. It was muddy, it got soiled. As I walked around gingerly, very interesting word, means very cautiously, very carefully, and inspecting the plants. Inspecting the plant means supervising the plants. He came in early morning to supervise the land, supervise the plants. I am going to the next paragraph, children, in page number 26. Around me were rows of chiku trees. There were many chiku trees, and below a dense foliage of moog. And below it was seen a dense means thick foliage, means leaves of the plants, green moogs, very thickly grown land it was of moog. At that point, I could not have asked for anything more because I was so happy to see the beauty of green moog land. I could not ask for anything. The moog plants, not more than 2 feet tall, they were of very small size, only 2 feet, had grown pods hanging out. Pod means, children, pod means a long, thin case filled with seeds. Pods were hanging out of the moog plant. The pods were not yet ripe. They were not yet ripe. There was a little fuzz growing on them. Fuzz means, children, fiber. It was still, growing up, not mature seeds at all. There were still some time before the harvest. I felt exhilarated. Some time were there to have the harvest season. Harvest season means the time when the crops are gathered in a farm. I felt so it had time to have full maturity. The pods had time to grow in matured condition. I felt exhilarated. Exhilarated means I felt very happy. Third paragraph. I stood watching the sun rise above the towering trees across the fence and slowly made my way back to the house. I stood watching the sunrise. I was watching the sunrise, which was above the towering trees, means tall trees, cross the fence. Fence means for protection of the land, the structure made of wood, and slowly made my way back to the house. I was about to go back to my house, a white structure in the middle of this greenery. In the middle of this greenery, I was standing, a white structure of mine was standing there. I could not believe that I was the owner of this land and that I was looking at my first crop as a farmer. I was looking at my first crop, the moog dulls crops, as farmer, a successful farmer, and it was unbelievable that I was the owner of this land. So the story of success has started now. After I had paid the advance money for the land, I thought I would have some time to get familiar with farming. After I paid advance money for this land, I was determined to learn the work on a farm farming. But Moru Dada, the broker means a person who buys and sells things, who got us this land, had other ideas. He was keen means he was interested that we plant moog at once. At once means very first let us produce moog dal here. I was not prepared for this. I was still reading books and trying to figure out what we could sow. I was reading books and I was planning what I could sow, what I could plant, and how we should go about it. What would be the process after plantation of the seeds? Moru Dada was quite firm. He was determined. He said the season was right for sowing moog. This is the best season for sowing moog dal, and the best seeds were available in Surat, in the adjacent state of Gujarat. So Moru Dada gave information that seeds are available in the adjacent state, means nearby state, next state, neighboring state of Gujarat. Next paragraph, page number 27. I made a quick trip to Surat. I had been to Surat and I bought around 10 kilograms of moog. Moru Dada rented his tractor to plow the land. Moru Dada, with his lots of stamina, he just used his tractor and just plowed the land and quickly planted moog all over the place. Next para. A few days later, we were overjoyed. We are very happy to see tiny green leaves. I had never seen moog growing before, and I was thrilled at the sight. I have never seen moog to grow before, and I was overjoyed at the sight of the green field of moog. It was the same thrill I had felt as a young boy when I saw the first of the hibiscus I had planted bloom at the railway quarters in Vailpally in Mumbai. When I was staying in Mumbai, I was very happy when, as a young boy, I planted a hibiscus plant, and when I saw the first appearance of the flower blossomed by this plant, I was very happy. So that happiness I got back once again after seeing the green land of moog dal. I was grateful to have taken Moru's advice. So I thought that, thankfully, I thought Moru Dada gave me right advice. Next para. The next thing Moru Dada wanted to do was spray some pesticide on the plants. Moru Dada thought of spraying some pesticide. What is pesticide? A chemical used for killing the pests. Pests means insects which annoy the crops. He claimed that it would give a higher yield. Higher yield means higher production, good production if plants the insects are killed with the help of pesticide. This was something we did not want to do, but we did not want to spray pesticide at all. We were clear that we would not use any chemicals and tried to explain it to him. We were just thinking of not using any chemicals, and I was trying to convince Moru Dada why we should not use chemicals. What is the ill effect of using chemicals? He reacted as if we had suggested harakiri. Harakiri, the meaning is given, meaning is given a formal way of killing yourself by cutting open your stomach with a sword, but actually it is a word imagery, children. Here harakiri means, children, Moru Dada strongly objected to this idea of not using chemicals. It took a lot of convincing to ensure that Moru Dada and his friends did not use any chemicals on the farm. Means after a lot of convincing, we were successful to let them not use the chemicals for the production. They refused to understand how crops could grow without sprays, but they could not understand much why chemicals should not be used. Contrary to what everyone had told us, nature did her job as she needed no bribes to get the work done. Some people made the comment on the other side. Some people made the comment that Mother Nature, it is regarded as Mother. Mother Nature has done her job. She has given a bountiful crops, and she does not want any return in lieu of that. Soon it was harvest time at the time when the crops are gathered on a farm and enjoyment takes place, and we managed a respectable 300 kilograms production we got from moog, an awful lot of moog, and with it a lot of confidence. We got good production of moog, and we got lots of confidence of not not using chemicals and getting good production of the crops. Now I was certain that land was fertile. Fertile means productive land, and that it was possible to grow crops without chemicals. It was a major moral booster. Moral means it boosted up our confidence. Booster is a device that gives extra energy. We got really enthusiasm to know that without using pesticide, without using chemicals, good crops can be produced from a land. Now, see children, there are four dark words, the scent of rice. Now, let us read that. The first year I was late for the rice sowing season and had to resort to growing the GR4 variety. Last year I was late and I had to resort the very ordinary variety of rice for production. That was, please turn over the page. Come on to page number 28. That was short term and recommended by the agricultural officers at Cosbad. Cosbad agricultural officers recommended us this rice, and it was of short term production, and we were not much satisfied. That we shall come to know. The next year we decided that we would start early. We should start early production and try to find some good traditional variety of rice to grow. We wanted to produce good traditional variety of rice. We had read about traditional varieties of rice and knew that they did not require very high inputs of fertilizers. So, you must have understood the line. Now, I am going to the next line. These varieties were also quite strong and resisted pests. They don't need any pesticide. They are very strong variety of rice. These varieties, we were sure that it was this type of rice that would grow well in our farm where we did not use any chemicals at all. I wanted this set of rice to produce in our land, which does not need any chemicals at all. Our previous year's experience and low yield, low production had taught us a lesson that we were sure we would not plant hybrids this year. Hybrids means a mixture of variety. The plant whose biological order is different. It yields high crops, but it is not of that much good quality. Next paragraph, page number 28. In April 2005, we started to look for a good variety of traditional rice. It was one of our neighbors in the village, a businessman from Mumbai who owned land, who suggested that we plant a local scented variety of rice. Most of the farmers in and around the village of Peth had switched over to hybrids. So, did you understand? Now there is no convention of using native rice production. All people are going for hybrid rice, even in this village also. The younger generation of farmers thought I was crazy to ask for the desi variety, as they called it. Desi variety means the native variety I wanted, but villagers, they thought that I am not thinking in proper way. My regular visits to the villages around searching for a good traditional variety also did not yield any results, and we were almost giving up hope. We are trying to give up hope. We are trying to get depressed for not getting that kind of variety, desi variety of rice what we want to produce. We are not getting that at all. So, we were very much in less energy in mind. I decided to give it one last try and spoke to Babun's father and some other elders. I talked to the elderly persons in village about that kind of rice, about to know its whereabouts. After many meaningful conversations, they mentioned the name of Kasbai. After many meaningful conversations, significant conversations, they discussed and they decided that Kasbai can be that sort of rice which will help me. Kasbai is a traditional long-grained rice variety which has a distinct aroma. Distinct aroma means very prominent, pleasant smell, though much milder than basmati, rice. But it has a very good and pleasant smell. It's a long duration crop. It takes time to produce, and most of the older people remembered growing it years ago, but they all shook their heads when I asked them about the seeds. I asked them about that Kasbai rice seeds, and they told me that it had disappeared. Means this is now backdated rice. Nobody uses this rice. Nobody produces this rice. It is not available. They told so, the elderly people. Next paragraph of page number 28. The tales of Kasbai made us more determined to get it. What I knew about the quality of Kasbai, we were determined to get the seeds of it. We decided that if we did manage to get some seeds, this would be a great rice to grow. Just we wanted to get little amount of seed of Kasbai rice. I thought the government may know something about it. A visit to the agricultural officer was enlightening. Enlightening means it will be knowledgeable matter. We shall understand from the agricultural matter. We shall gain knowledge having talked to them. He had not even heard of this rice variety. Even agricultural officer has not heard of this rice variety, Kasbai rice variety. He said the villagers were taking me for a ride to see the ground, but there was no rice by this name. I could not see any rice by this name. He rattled off the names of a number of latest hybrid variety. He gave information. Rattle means very quickly he told about the names, new names, which are in convention now in use, and even offered to give me some of them free of cost for a trial. He offered some seeds of rice at free of cost. Cursing myself for wasting time with him, I moved on to the next destination. I went to the next destination. Next place I went for information. This time it was the Adivasi Mahamandal at Kasa, which buys rice from the Adivasi villagers on behalf of the government. Kasbai did not figure in their files. Kasbai rice is not in that Mahamandal also. And a good indication why people did not grow it anymore. This is the indication. This proves that people don't use this rice anymore. The market itself did not recognize the rice. Market could not recognize this rice. No seller has this rice. So if you grew it, you would not be able to sell it. However, the officer in charge here had more knowledge of rice and did remember Kasbai being sold to him a few years ago. Dear children, we are now in page number 29. So let us read. So, para starts with this line. So, when I in Dhanivari, Babun and I started looking for Devuhanda, and found a greying old man wearing a cap sitting outside his house on a chapai. We were in search for Kasbai rice, so we were going to look for a person who can help us. And a person we met, he is Debuhanda. He is an ex-sarpanch of the village, and he had acres of land, a huge house and a large family. After exchanging the usual pleasantries, we came to the topic of Kasbai. After exchanging our friendly pleasantries means friendly talks, we came to the topic of Kasbai. The mere mention of Kasbai and Devuhanda drifted into the past. The moment we mentioned Kasbai, rice Kasbai, Devuhanda became very emotional. He went to the past to remember the past days when Kasbai was used by the people. His eyes turned dreamy, and with a tremble in his voice, he became very emotional when he told us how the entire village at one time grew only Kasbai. He told that entire village, the whole village used to produce Kasbai only once. He said there was a time when people passing our village during lunchtime would be forced to stop and ask for a milk. So not only the villagers ate this rice, the passers-by, those who go through this village, they used to stop during lunchtime and joined for lunch just because of Kasbai rice. During lunchtime would be forced to stop and ask for a meal. Such was the alluring aroma, means pleasant aroma of Kasbai. The entire area would have this heady aroma hanging in the air, as all the houses cooked the same rice. All the houses in the village cooked the same rice, and the air was filled with nice aroma of Kasbai rice those days. Today, he said, no one grew Kasbai and everyone had shifted to growing the new hybrid varieties. Now everybody is producing new hybrid varieties. Nobody would like to go for Kasbai rice. He claimed he had to force himself to eat this rice that was so insipid. Insipid means you can say rather tasteless. He had to force himself, means even though he likes to eat Kasbai rice, but since it is not cooked in his house also, he has to force himself to eat hybrid rice. Children, you are hearing hybrid word time and again in this prose. Hybrid means actually here the plant that has parents of different species and varieties for better production, for uh, bringing speed in production. Okay, so people are going for hybrid rice now. With the now this para, with the advent of irrigation has taken place. System of irrigation in the cultivation, farmers were tempted to grow a second crop and kasbai, being a long duration rice, was replaced by the shorter duration hybrids. Hybrids production takes short duration and kasbai production takes long duration. So people go for the earlier production system, that is hybrid production. This ensured that the farmers could take up a second crop, so that after one time of production of hybrid rice, they can go for the second time production. So it is more profitable, so they go for hybrid production. I asked why he had shifted if he was so unhappy with the hybrids. No one forced him to, did they? I asked, nobody has forced you to go for hybrid production for your cultivation cause. Then why did you take resort to hybrid production? Now this old Sarpanch is showing the reason. He smiled and replied that their fields did not have fences, that they don't have fences system, and once the harvest was over, the cattle were released. Once the harvest session is over, the cattle are released to roam in the field, into the fields. And if my field alone has kasbai, it will be a treat for the cattle. Then cattle will, if I produce kasbai rice, it will take more time for completion of production. So at that time cattle will annoy them, he explained. Next paragraph of page number 30. Sometimes we have to fall in line with the community, he lamented. Means he told, being an old elderly person, he lamented, he said very sorrowfully that sometimes we have to cooperate the people of society, we have to agree with them. So I too go for hybrid. Hybrids need more water, fertilizers and pesticides. He said that yields were good initially, but of late, first it was of good production, but of late means recently had reduced a lot. Besides, he said that each year they had to increase the quantity of urea and pesticides they used. It was as if the newer hybrids had an insatiable appetite for chemicals, means dissatisfactory hunger for chemicals. New hybrids, they just would like to be used more chemicals. More chemicals are needed for their production. He told us that even when there were flash floods in the 60s, Kasbai had stood its ground. Even during flat duration of flat time also, Kasbai has not been affected in heavy flood. Kasbai had stood its ground. He fondly remembered how the rice was still standing when they all returned to the village after the floods had receded. After the flood receded, Kasbai rice was there to stand still. Such was the strength of the rice, Kasbai rice. But look, what we have done, he said sadly that we have done injustice on this Kasbai rice plant just because of more profit by using hybrids. Next para. As he went on reminiscing about the rice, means remembering the story about the rice of past event, we gently guided him back to the reason for our visit. We just told him that the cause of our visit, the reason of our visit, the kasbai seeds. We wanted kasbai seeds. He was sure that there was not a single villager in this area who would have the seeds of kasbai. According to him, the only people who still grew it were the Adivasis in a hamlet at the foothills of the mountains in the next village, Asadvari. We bid farewell to Devuvanda, who lovingly blessed us and said, Mahalakshmi, the local goddess, will give you the seeds of kasbai. He blessed us and told us the destination of getting this, the probability of getting kasbai seeds in the hamlet and the small village on the mountain. You go there, the Adivasis can preserve it, and blessed them by heart. Next Paragraph. In Asirberry village, we asked the servants to help us as we were not very fluent with the local dialect. We did not know the local language, so we just with difficulty we expressed our desire to get kasbai rice. He sent his assistant Jivan with us into the hills. After a half-hour walk through thick vegetation, means through thick forests, crossing numerous streams and ditches and scrambling over rocks and gravel, we reached the sleepy hamlet of Buripara. There were just two ramshackle houses in front of us, and we wondered if this was the right place. Ramshackle means children. What is ramshackle? Well, ramshackle means in a very bad condition. There were just two ramshackle houses in front of us, and we wondered if this was the right place. Here is one new word for you: gravel, rocks and gravel. Gravel means you can say stone. So they were going to that hamlet. Hamlet means small village on the top of the hill, and they were going there in search for kasbai rice, and they saw that in very bad condition some houses are there, and they were wondering whether they have come to the right place, whether they will really get their desired rice here. A wrinkled old woman sitting before one of the houses looked at us with curiosity. An old woman was curiously seeing them. As we approached her, we signaled to Jeevan to ask the crucial question. What question we wanted to ask? We just took assistance of Jeevan to ask it because we did not know the local dialect. She muttered in reply, and we looked at Jeevan for a quick interpretation. The old lady answered in her local language, and just we wanted Jeevan to translate that to us. He broke into a smile and informed us that she did have the rice and wanted to know who we were and why we wanted it. See, the blessings of God. Now the writer, Venkat sir, became very happy just because he came to know that the old lady just informed that she has that rice still and wanted to know about their identity, about their whereabouts, and the reason of getting it, etc. Now, this page number 31, it was a difficult task to keep a straight face, and I had to control a strong desire to hug her. I really wanted to respect that lady. Just I wanted to come close to her. After searching for months, we had found the elusive kasbai. Elusive means difficult to find, difficult to get. We have got kasbai. After a long search for months after months, we explained to her that we were from Peth nearby and we needed the seeds to grow it. We asked for 10 kilograms of rice. She muttered, means spoke in very slow voice, and scowled. Jeevan interpreted that she had never heard of Peth village. Jeevan told that, translated into their language, that she had never heard of Peth village and also did not have a weighing scale. She does not have a weighing scale, a measuring instrument. She was willing to give the seeds only in baskets. We asked for a single basket of rice, and Jeevan told us to pay her something. Jeevan told us to give her some money as reward. I handed over a 100-rupee note, and for the first time in the last 10 minutes, her face broke into a smile. She was so happy getting that 100-rupee note. She nodded her head in approval. She just expressed her, joyfulness, happiness by getting the money and handing them over the rice. Last paragraph, children. As we walked back against the fading sunset, it was at that time, sunset time, leaving behind a smiling old lady, I could not help but wonder that here, nestling in the foothills of an unknown mountain, away from the hustle and bustle of the road or the city, where the real people of India, here lives the real people of India. How honest people are living here, just not living in city, far away from city, in this nearby the jungle, nearby the on the foot of the mountains. They are living here. So happy I felt knowing the honesty of the people here. These were the people who still held on to the rich biodiversity of our land, and no one even cared about them. They are doing a lot of contribution to our biodiversity of our land, but nobody is taking care of them. They had never heard of hybrids, fertilizers, or pesticides. They just grew their rice and ate what they got. The old lady we met had probably never left Boriparai. She has never gone anywhere outside Baripara. Her world was unspoiled by progress. Her world was unspoiled by progress, and for once I was grateful for that. Writer Venkat Iyer expressed his heartfelt gratitude towards this lady, sincere thanks just because of handing him over these beautiful Kasbai grains, what he was looking for long time. Children, look at the line. The writer is saying, these were the people who still held on to the rich biodiversity of our land and no one even cared about them. They had never heard of hybrids, fertilizers or pesticides. They just grew their rice and ate what they got. The old lady we met had probably never left Boripara. Her world was unspoiled by progress, with an inverted comma. And for once I was grateful for that. Children, biodiversity means here the writer wanted to mean biological diversity, the existence of a large number of different kinds of animals and plants which make a balanced environment. So, this old lady is living in the lap of nature and has contributed a lot to this person, the writer, our writer of this prose, and he's expressing his sincere thanks for him. He's expressing his gratitude towards this lady. And here is another word sentence: her world was unspoiled by progress. This lady is living in this native corner of this world, and here is no much kind of facility of modern science technology. She is enjoying the beauty of the nature. She is living in one balanced environment of the nature, and the how broad mind she possesses, what a liberal heart she has, and what a generous mindset she has. So the writer is expressing his sincere thanks and regards for this lady. And here I am ending my analysis. You have full freedom to analyze the line in your way also, and I shall upload my brainstorming activities very soon, children. Still, if you have any problem, query, inquiries, you can write to me. I shall answer you. Okay? Till then, till I bring my next video. Bye.